Diddy has officially been sentenced to 50 months in prison. And the thing that Diddy did as soon as he was sentenced is actually insane. And even more worse, since he has already served 14 months, Diddy only has to spend the next 36 months in a federal prison. And while the prosecution recommended 11 years, as they said that Diddy had a lack of remorse, as well as all of the evidence that was stacked against Diddy, as Diddy was initially on the hook for about 20 years in prison. And even more insane are these past few court days, Diddy has been begging and pleading and apologizing nonstop, where his team is making sympathetic videos of him and his kids hanging out. And right before the judge made their sentencing to Diddy, Diddy's daughters begged the judge for Diddy to get a second chance. And this is where it gets even more patheticer for Diddy. Right before Diddy was sentenced, he claimed that he had a speaking engagement in Miami next week, as to make it seem like he knew that he was not going to get sentenced.
The judge looked Diddy right in the face right before handing him a 4-year sentence and said he will forever be associated with Cassie and Jane. Can't watch them away. This after his attorney spent hours with him.
Girl, grab your popcorn because this tea is boiling over. Katt just dropped a bomb, and if what he's saying is even half true, Hollywood might never be the same. According to Katt, Diddy's so-called 4-year sentence, that light punishment that had everyone side-eyeing the system, wasn't just lenient. It was planned. Katt's claiming Diddy was never really going to do hard time.
Why?
Because the same powerful names rumored to appear on those infamous tapes wanted them buried, and fast. Apparently, this wasn't justice, it was damage control. That short sentence was just a way to keep Diddy quiet, keep him scared, and make sure he never leaks what he knows. And get this, insiders say some serious money may have changed hands behind closed doors to make that miracle verdict happen. So if Katt's telling the truth, we're looking at one of the biggest Hollywood cover-ups in recent history. Let's rewind a bit in case you missed it. After months of courtroom chaos, Diddy was found guilty of transportation for prostitution, but somehow dodged that massive RICO charge that everyone expected would take him down. His sentencing date landed on October 3rd, and that's when the drama really kicked up. Now, y'all remember Cassie's letter to the judge? She begged the court to deny Diddy's bail, saying she feared for her life and for the safety of other witnesses. But sis wasn't finished. Just days before the sentencing, Cassie filed another letter, this time pleading for a longer sentence. She said she still has nightmares, needs therapy to cope, and lives in constant fear that Diddy or his people will come after her. In her words, "I am so scared that if he walks free, his first actions will be swift retribution toward me and others who spoke up at trial." And it wasn't just Cassie speaking up, 50 Cent got involved too. Now y'all know he's been trolling Diddy for years, but this time it was personal. Turns out, his ex and baby mama Daphne Joy was actually listed as one of the Jane does in Diddy's trafficking case. So 50 had every reason to want justice. He even sent a letter to the judge himself saying he's feared for his life multiple times and that Diddy is very dangerous. He wrote, "There hasn't been enough time for him to reform or make any adjustments. You should consider the safety of the public before unleashing him upon them." Then came the big day. When the final verdict dropped, the internet went absolutely wild. Diddy got 4 years and 2 months and a $500,000 fine. Fans expected something closer to 10 or 15 years minimum. And then came the real kicker. The 13 months he already spent behind bars count toward that time. So realistically, he's doing just over 3 years. Girl, that's not justice. That's a spa weekend with paperwork. Naturally, the internet exploded, calling it a bot sentence and a Hollywood privilege deal. Meanwhile, Diddy's lawyers were out front of the courthouse before the ink even dried on the verdict, calling it an unjust judgment and promising an appeal. If Katt's right, and this was all just a staged slap on the wrist to keep Diddy quiet, we might be looking at a cover-up way bigger than anyone imagined.
We are planning to appeal. We think we have strong bases to appeal. The strongest basis is that the jury reached a verdict on coercion. It found there was not coercion, and I think the judge said coercion today as a basis for a sentence at least a dozen times. We think that that is unconstitutional. We think that a jury verdict should mean more than our jury's verdict seems to mean, and so we are planning to. We think that's just absolutely inconsistent with the jury's verdict. I mean, the jury's verdict was resoundingly clear. There was no sex trafficking, there was no racketeering, everything was consensual, everything was adult, which is why he was convicted only of the prostitution offense. What we feel happened today was that the judge acted as a 13th juror, one that we did not choose.
So yeah, this story is nowhere near finished. While Diddy's legal team was out front talking about filing an appeal, the public was going off online about that 50-month sentence. And the reactions were all over the map. Some people felt like justice had finally been served, while others said the punishment was laughably light for everything he'd been accused of. But one voice stood out louder than the rest: Gene Deal. He jumped in saying he wasn't even surprised, claiming he knew from day one that Diddy was never going to spend real time behind bars.
It is exactly what I said on my show. I said Diddy gonna end up doing 24 months in prison. The judge gave him 50 months, but you gotta realize he already had 14 months in it, practically. And he's going to get credit for 2 months of that 14 months. That give him 16 months. He's gonna do 24 months, which is gonna give him about 30 months, because he only had to do 85% in the feds, and he goes to probably a halfway house. So he got off like a fat rat in a cheese factory. But for a dude like Diddy going to jail and spending all that time, you know, I'm not saying it's going to be rough or nothing like that, because his...
Then there was Judge Mathis, who openly admitted he was genuinely stunned that Diddy didn't receive a much harsher sentence.
So you were right. Were you surprised at 50 months?
Well, I was surprised it wasn't more, quite frankly. Based on the prosecutors wanted 11 years. The judge, as we know, said he would be considering things outside of the conviction. And so and wouldn't give him $1 million bond. I think later he offered $50 million, and you wouldn't give him a bond. So no, I thought he was gonna bring the hammer down a little harder.
Girl, y'all better grab your seats, because this tea is piping hot. After weeks of drama, Diddy's sentencing finally dropped, but let's just say it didn't go how people expected. And now, Katt Williams has jumped right into the mix with some shocking claims that might change how we see this entire case. So, Diddy was found guilty on 2 counts of transporting people to engage in prostitution, but somehow dodged the big RICO charge that everyone thought would take him down. His sentence? Just 4 years and 2 months in prison, plus a $500,000 fine. Now, remember, he already served 13 months, so that time counts. Meaning, he's not even doing the full 4 years. Basically, it's giving slap on the wrist energy, and the internet is losing it. Cassie, his ex, had begged the judge for a tougher sentence. In her letter, she said she still has nightmares, fears for her life, and believes Diddy could come after her or anyone who spoke out. Even 50 Cent got involved, writing to the court that he feared for his own safety and wanted Diddy locked up for good. But despite all that, the final verdict shocked everyone. Fans were expecting at least 11 years, not 4, that once the news broke, social media exploded. Some people said justice was finally being served, but most were furious, calling it another example of how money buys freedom. Even Judge Mathis admitted he was shocked the sentence was that short. And while Diddy's legal team immediately announced plans to appeal, others were already calling this a setup, that maybe the sentence was part of a much bigger plan behind the scenes. Enter Katt Williams. And let's be real, everyone was waiting for him. After that explosive Club Shay Shay interview where he dragged Diddy to filth, fans knew he'd have something to say about this outcome. According to inside sources, Katt said he wasn't surprised Diddy got off easy. He'd been predicting it all along. Katt allegedly told people that Diddy's trial wasn't really about justice. It was about power. He claims the same powerful people caught on Diddy's alleged tapes wanted those tapes back, and once they were confiscated during the raids, Diddy's punishment suddenly got lighter. Katt also believes a lot of money moved around behind the scenes, and that this entire process, the raid, the charges, the short sentence, was designed to look like justice while keeping the real power players untouched. And here's the craziest part. Katt thinks Diddy could still walk away free after the appeal. According to him, the judges gave Diddy a small sentence first just to make it look believable, and when the appeal hits, he'll be cleared completely. Now, whether you believe Katt or not, it's wild to see how deep this thing goes. Diddy getting just 4 years after decades of alleged abuse has people questioning the entire justice system. Fans online are furious, saying things like, "Money doesn't buy happiness, but it definitely buys the courts. And for years, for over 20 years of hurting people, that's not justice." So now the big question is, did Diddy's power and connection save him again? Or was this sentence really fair? Let me know what you think in the comments. And don't forget to hit that next video because the story, it's far from over.